Hey, how's it going? It's November 6th, 2022. This is your Daily Sweet Talk. Oh, I mean January 6th. Sorry. Apparently it's January. Whoops. Um, the ULMER scale. The ULMER scale. You must never ever repeat it. Apparently that is what is the A list, B list, C list, D list classification. Apparently that's what that's called. It was invented by what's his face? Something Ulmer. James Ulmer. And it is I've referenced the Ulmer scale before. I don't know if I referenced it by name. I was talking about B list candy bars. Apparently the ULMER scale is specifically about bankability of stars. So if you have an A-list star there, the most bankables, however much million, 30 million plus, whatever. B-list is whatever. It even says here in this article from the LA Times, only 2 actors on the A plus list, Will Smith and Johnny Depp, okay, whatever. And then there's 26 actors on A list and 84 on B list. This is so specific. This is way more specific than I would have thought the Ulmer scale is. I'm referring to it by name. I wouldn't have thought of it by name. I would have just thought A list, B list, whatever. That's what you call it, the Ulmer scale. So referring to it by name, I would not have thought the Ulmer scale was this specific thing. I thought it's like, an A-lister, the cream of the crop in terms of notoriety. I would think the Ulmer scale is about notoriety. That's how people seem to use it. Maybe I've just misconstrued this social vocabulary terminology, A-list, B-list, whatever. It felt like when people would use like A-list, B-list, whatever, it was about notoriety. Like, oh, Will Smith and Johnny Depp are A-listers because they're so notable. Who I would think of for A-list, first person I would think of would probably be like Brad Pitt, maybe Tom Cruise. The Rock would not be one of the first people I think of, but there you go. There's another one, The Rock. B-list. So once you get to stuff below A-list, it's harder to more towards opinion. Like, who do you think is more notable? It's impossible to really tell because you don't know who other people know. You can kind of feel it out. You can kind of guess, but not everyone is gonna know the same things you know. You may think, oh yeah, everyone knows the movie Jaws. It's one of the most famous movies of all time. And then you talk to a person who's never seen the movie Jaws or never seen an episode of The Simpsons or whatever. It's like, oh, I guess it's not as widely known. You can only really feel it out. You can only guess. But that's what I thought this was making note of, is the notoriety of a thing. That's, I feel, more useful than like, oh, the bankability. Why would that be such a common like specification for like that feels more like Hollywood lingo, and I guess it is, but it's like, why does it matter when you're talking about like, oh yeah, A-lister Brad Pitt? It's like, well, why does that matter to us? How much money he makes? How does that help us in this conversation identify who or specify who we're talking about? Like the amount of money they make, this means nothing to us in terms of our conversation here. We're not talking about money, probably. We're just talking about a celebrity. We're just talking about movies, whatever. And that's why when I was talking about B-list or D-list candy bars, I'm like, oh yeah, D-level notoriety, Clark bars, whatever, Chunky. Is Chunky D? I'm not sure. Yeah, Chunky's down there. And, I was just happening to talk about candy bars. It would refer to other stuff too. You could use it for YouTubers maybe. That'd be harder because those come and go, and it's whoever you know. But cartoons, whatever. You could use any category. I'm saying that's how people should use it now. Maybe, I don't know. Whatever. That's how I use it. maybe that's incorrect.